talking about John Cena. This is the CM Punk show now.
Barrett attacking the Big Show. What is Barrett doing here? How smart! Go, let it go! That's what a college education and a good woman will do for you. Now Ziggler is the #1 contender for the World Heavyweight Champion. You gotta be kidding me! Matt Hardy is in TNA.
As I predicted, the new TNA Total Non-Stop Action, Total Non-Stop Champion, Mr. Anderson.
Celebrating 12 years on the air and voted 2009 Broadcast Show of the Year. This is the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com.
Welcome, Milwaukee and across the world. It is the PWR show. Kill Jabroni Damien's mic for a little bit. It's time to celebrate. It is 1/11/11, and it is Mr. Anderson Day, as far as I'm concerned. The TNA World Heavyweight Champion.
Congratulations to Ken.
Yes, it's going to be a Miz. It's going to be a Miz
can't help
free
you,
show.
Damien. I can't help you.
It's going to be a Miz free show.
It's the next 2 hours is just about Anderson.
Yeah, absolutely, Frank. Listen,
We'll even throw in a little Justin Gabriel just to make it
Peter
work.
Gabriel. So you know what's amazing? Here's the best thing about it is that we've been tortured with misery,
David's going in.
with misery and miscalculation and everything else, and now we get to celebrate.
For those who can't see, he's fighting with Captain Jack, our producer, to get his mic on.
Sorry, Damien. They got to me. They got to me with the bribe.
It's all about the Cincos. You
So
know.
Let's talk about Ken's match.
You know what? It's amazing. As a year ago, I made the comment about headlining TNA pay-per-views and main events, and now he's the world champion of the world.
You know, if you want to call in just about Ken and his match,
the number
there we go.
is 414. You and I have heat, buddy, pal, friend,
Again?
amigo.
Ha-ha!
Welcome to the Pro Wrestling Report here live on 540 ESPN, streaming live at ESPNMilwaukee.com. We are live
rolling,
on
weren't we, Frank?
Tuesday, January 11, 2011. It is a celebratory tone here tonight over the Pro Wrestling Report as we celebrate a new champion in TNA Championship Wrestling, Ken Anderson, Mr. Anderson. We'll talk more about that later, but... Perfect. So much going on in the wrestling world. Matt Hardy debuting in TNA. Shawn Michaels announced as an inductee into the WWE Hall of Fame. Alberto Del Rio taking yet another step up that ladder. We're opening the phone zone early.
You know what?
We want to hear from
amazing,
you.
Frank, is now he doesn't like Ken. For the past year, Ken's bought him a couple drinks, dinner. Now he's hating. Because the Miz shine is a little dull right now.
Will you stop? That's not true. Why do you do this? Why is it your goal to bury me with every professional wrestler in WWE and TNA?
Wait a minute, not at all.
I already got choked out by Chris Masters because of you.
That was your own fault.
No.
We have pictures to prove it.
We do
there
have
are
pictures
to prove it.
That was
Bret Hart and I had to have an hour-long discussion because of you to clear things up. I mean, I deserve a little bit of respect here.
You do. You get a ton of respect. Is that your car going on the road? Oh, that wasn't. Looks just like it. I saw the bumper sticker.
I demand a little bit of respect here. We're going into the phone zone. You still haven't allowed me to give the number out. 414-276-ESPN, 414-276-3776, 1-800-990-ESPN, 1-800-990-3776, and you have about 4 seconds to grab that remote control and turn the O'Reilly factor off the TV in the studio here.
Well, would you rather watch Ray J and Brandy again? Let's see. What else we got here? We're not watching Oberman.
1301.
Teen Mom number 2. There you go. Fantastic. You feel better? Nelson?
Yeah, actually, I do. I feel better.
Okay, good.
Deep breath.
Good.
No, I'm okay. I'm not going to – look, Frank, I don't know what happened to you last week. You still haven't explained yourself. You're supposed to be here by 10:30.
I don't have to explain anything.
Oh, you're down there with Linda. All of a sudden, Frank's not coming down to the live #1 wrestling show on broadcast radio, as voted on at WrestlingRadioAwards.com last year. By the way, voting's open again right now for the 2010 version of that.
Give us all the love in the world.
I have my reasons.
Frank, I don't blame you. You were having a good time.
I was.
You were talking about Linda's new TV show she's working on.
Yep.
It's got legs. It's going to go somewhere.
ZZ Top wrote a song about it.
Absolutely.
David Hero.
Wow, you're flustered tonight, aren't you?
Mostly by what you had displayed on the screen in here.
I came in here and it was on.
The beautiful downtown studios right in the heart of Milwaukee. Everybody walking by here in this glass studio here, looking at those lies being perpetrated on that news show, quote unquote news show that you watch.
Why is this going to be political? Why can't we just have fun?
I didn't politicize it.
It's not about Fox News. It's not about Sun. Ms. NBC, whatever you want to call it. It's about Ken Anderson.
Tonight it is.
And you know what? It feels good because a lot of people that listen to the show or follow on Twitter or watch the TV show. They're like, oh, you guys are TNA marks. You know what? Ken's a friend. I'm excited for him. Someone's just stepped on a duck, but that'll be fine. And you know what? It's like we're a part of that journey, and now he is on top of the world.
Absolutely.
He's the world champion.
And it's.
You know what? The Miz can't say he's the world champion, can he? He can say he's the WWE champion.
That's right.
But he's not the TNA world champion.
Ken's worked hard to get where he is today.
It all from the moment he granted us the first interview after his WWE release, and it was such a revealing interview. We've kept in touch. You so obviously, David Hero, more so than anyone else, kept in touch with Mr. Anderson, and to watch him 1 year after debuting in TNA at Genesis, the same event, to become the TNA World Champion is a pretty monumental thing. And let's talk about how we got there and how it happened, because going into Genesis this past Sunday night, it was a #1 contenders match between Matt Morgan and Ken Anderson. The winner would get an opportunity at Jeff Hardy's TNA Championship. Jeff Hardy not scheduled to wrestle or defend that championship at Genesis. Eric Bischoff saying Immortal would walk out of Genesis with all of the titles in TNA wrestling. They would succeed with the tag team titles, the TV title, and the X Division title. Little did anyone know that the main prize, the championship belonging to Jeff Hardy, would not be leaving with Immortal that night. Ken Anderson overcomes all the odds and defeats Jeff Hardy right after defeating Matt Morgan. Eric Bischoff saying, you get a title match, congratulations, but guess what? That title match is right now. Ken Anderson does it, and he is the new TNA World Heavyweight Champion.
The good thing about this now is Ken can, there could be a rematch in the future, but now we get to see who he can match up with. He's got so many options, and TNA has so many options to match Ken up with. And I think each of those matches will be, should be outstanding.
Well, I'm sure Jeff Hardy will get a rematch down the road.
At some point.
Matt Morgan, I'm sure, will get a title shot.
Yep.
Maybe RVD.
I can see if maybe an AJ Styles possibly again.
There's a chance the Pope could get back into that picture.
Sure.
Maybe that's how the Pope's going to headline a main event.
We're efforting the Pope's next appearance on this show, so I hope you're ready for that, pal.
You know what? I will be ready for that. I'll look forward to it.
TNA Genesis this past Sunday night, brand new champion, Mr. Anderson. And a lot of good reaction to that championship win on our Facebook page and on Twitter, and actually with your phone calls. We want to hear what you think about that big news story coming out of TNA Genesis, along with two other stories, Matt Hardy debuting and the revelation that AJ Styles was injured and will be out of action for a few weeks. Let's go to our first caller. And, again, you can join us on the phone lines. We're live Tuesday night, January 11th, 414-276-ESPN, 414-276-3776, all over the world at 1-800-990-ESPN, 1-800-990-3776. Let's go down to Houston, Texas. Ricardo, you're live here on the Pro Wrestling Report.
Yo, what up, dogs?
What up,
Amigo.
First of all, I want to thank you guys for giving me that Fan of the Year award. Oh, wait, I didn't win.
You have something to look forward to and to ascend to in 2011.
Ricardo, just so you know, Frank did vote for you.
He did? He voted for me?
Absolutely.
Thank you, Frank.
Oh, you're welcome.
Appreciate it. All right, now, getting to Genesis, I wasn't going to see it, but I went online and saw it anyways.
Hey, there you go.
Hey, it was actually a decent pay-per-view for TNA. I mean, I didn't think it was bad at all. The title change at the end threw me off. I was like, okay.
Did you like it? Could you feel it?
No, I thought it was okay. The only thing I did feel was yesterday, my mark-out moment of the year already, when Alberto Del Rio came down and interrupted Shawn Michaels.
Yeah. We're going to talk a lot more about that later. Shawn Michaels announced as the first inductee into the WWE Class of 2011 Hall of Fame induction.
Wait. So I've been in the Hall of Fame before Shawn Michaels?
I'm still waiting for the
that?
documentation. Something, even a Wikipedia page would do.
You know what?
Indicating that you are.
Next week, I will bring my Hall of Fame ring and plaque.
Around the collar and on your teeth?
Wow, someone's got jokes tonight. Look at this.
I got jokes.
Must have had your Wheaties.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that was probably. I did not expect.
Are you okay? Are you okay, Rodrigo? Are you all right?
Ricardo,
Mr. Hero. Yes, I'm okay. I'm great. I just thought I never expected Alberto Del Rio to come out and interrupt Shawn Michaels, and I thought it was great. It was. I don't know.
It was a good surprise. And it elevates Alberto Del Rio.
I had goosebumps because I thought I would never see that ever in wrestling again. I thought I would never see Alberto Del Rio and Shawn Michaels in the same ring ever. I never thought I would see it, but it was great.
And you know what was great about it, and again, thank you very much for calling in, Ricardo. We're going to talk a lot more about Raw later on, but what was great is, I don't know how many of you noticed, but Shawn Michaels never said a word in that whole segment, which was pretty awesome. But anyways, thank you for that call, Ricardo in Houston. Again, we're taking your calls, 276-ESPN or 1-800-990-ESPN. We're also on Twitter. Our username on Twitter is @PWR Show, @PWR Show. We're taking your submissions for tonight's Versus segment. All you got to do is send us a tweet with your Versus suggestion. It's a star of old versus a star of new. Similarly talented stars. Not necessarily similarly gimmicked, similarly talented stars. And make sure you put a hash mark Versus in front of that before you send it over to us. But we'll be taking those, and we'll get to that segment later on in the program. Also in the program, we're going to talk about hot news and rumor killers, full review of TNA Genesis. We've got our Star of the Week. Vintage video is very interesting this week, and we're going to talk in depth about WWE Raw. Let's next go to another caller from Houston. James, you're live here on the Pro Wrestling Report.
Connection is going on. How you doing, guys?
Hey, James.
Tremendous. How are you, James?
Nothing much. First of all, congratulations to the Packers and Mr. Anderson, the whole state of Wisconsin.
Hey, there you go.
We were loving life.
Yeah, I must have been going crazy up there.
It was a good Sunday.
Yeah, actually for Genesis, I thought overall it was okay. I heard the post show on Sunday, and I agree with what Hero said. Whoever showed Kurt Angle pulling out that blade should have got future endeavors as soon as that show got off the air.
That was not tremendous.
Not at all. That was # horrendous. But But other than that, yeah, I thought it was a good show. As for Raw, I enjoyed most of Raw too. Of course, the HBK moment was really good, and Alberto Del Rio getting a rub. My question that I wanted to have for you guys real quick is about ROH. There was a statement that was sent out earlier around the internet saying that ROH may be going off of HDNet. So my question to you is if it gets on a more national scale, do you guys think that with the buzz that it's getting, do you think that maybe by the end of this year it may be able to compete with TNA?
No.
They don't have the marketing.
Thanks for that call, James.
And you know what? If it's off HDNet, I don't know where it's going to go because it's not going to go anywhere.
But let's talk more about that because there's an interesting point to be made about that when we come back. This is the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com.
Talk Packers all day long on 540 ESPN.
Welcome back to the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report, live on Tuesday, January 11, 2011, 1/11/11. It's going to be 11:11 p.m. here while we're on the air on 1/11/11. I'm going to turn your mic on. Huh?
You going to celebrate?
I celebrate every day.
He does celebrate every day.
All day, every day.
Did you see him at Applebee's earlier? And with his little, Sprites and Jamesons?
Right, we had to get you away from the bar.
Thank you for joining us. Big news next Monday night. Guess what? We're back, baby.
Back to Monday.
Next Monday night, the Pro Wrestling Report returns to its normal time slot all the way through the end of February at least. Monday nights at 10 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time, right after WWE Raw on the USA Network. Frank, are you going to join us?
Next week? Absolutely.
Why wouldn't he?
He only commits week to week.
Oh, yeah, he only gives us an hour tonight.
Yeah, apparently.
Must be nice, Frank Costantino.
Who's your manager?
You saw the name of the contract.
My lawyer signed that. I don't sign the contracts. I got a stamp. I just give it to them. They put it on there. Anyway,
a vowel at the end. That's all
before we took that time out, we had a caller from Houston who asked about the rumors of Ring of Honor being off HDNet and how could they ever be competition to TNA Wrestling. Here's the thing about Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor is a great 1-hour professional wrestling show each and every Monday night at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. If you have HDNet and you're not watching Ring of Honor and you are a wrestling fan, you are missing out. However, Ring of Honor, in my opinion, only appeals to the most committed of wrestling fans.
When you say committed, do you mean straitjacket committed?
No. I mean dedicated.
Okay.
I mean
that's a better word.
Fans who are into wrestling and don't necessarily want that big, larger-than-life entertainment aspect of it. Not that Ring of Honor is not entertaining. I don't want David to be able to misconstrue my words. They have excellent wrestling, and they tell better stories at times than both WWE and TNA. However, I don't see Ring of Honor as it stands right now ever being able to compete with World Wrestling Entertainment. TNA can't even do that. And I'm not sure if they can compete with TNA because it's not competition because it's two different things. Ring of Honor is pure wrestling.
I'm not going to lie. When Adam Pearce and Rashi Brown left Ring of Honor, I lost all interest.
Yeah,
still good wrestling on Monday night.
It is. They just, at this point, don't have the marketing dollars behind it to make it
They just
work.
don't have the money behind them, period. That's the problem.
That's true, but if getting onto some network can generate the dollars needed, but someone would have to come in and put an investment.
Mark Cuban owns HDNet. Mm-hmm. Okay, he likes the Ring of Honor product. It's not going to go anywhere else.
Right.
Look at what's already out there. I mean, the E has what? They got 3 shows on during the week?
Mm-hmm.
4 maybe with the weekends?
Raw, Superstars, 4.
Then you got TNA. I mean, there's way too much on TV to begin with. I just don't see any room for Ring of Honor. And what night would they go on?
Maybe they wouldn't go on at night.
Well, they're already on Monday nights at 7. Granted, HDNet, I think, is in 60 million homes or something like that. It's not as bad as a lot of people think as far as their penetration. But it's an acquired taste. And it takes a lot for them to gain new fans, in my opinion, because you got to really watch the product. I mean, it's not a name that's going to draw you into Ring of Honor. It's the action. It's the wrestling. which they do better than either of the two companies out there, other two companies, WWE and TNA.
See,
but
now,
I don't think that's what the fans in general are looking for. Some fans are.
But on the other side of that, too, is that what ROH wants?
Well, they certainly want to grow, I hope.
Well, no, yeah, you obviously want to be profitable, but, look, do we want to go on another station? Are we happy here? Is this as far as we want to go? I don't know. They've got a good product. They've got good talent. I got to agree with you, Dave. Since Rashi and Adam Pearce left, I haven't really watched it.
And Austin Aries, and there's been a lot of discussion since several departures and the growing popularity of Dragon Gate USA. We had Gabe Sapolsky on this program just a few weeks back, by the way, that Ring of Honor is searching for its identity and is potentially not going to be as prevalent as it was. Now, Ring of Honor is at times outdrawing TNA on the road.
Easily.
They've got a dedicated and committed fan base. They're they're probably the closest comparison to ECW during the height of its popularity. But Ring of Honor is an acquired taste, and I don't think enough wrestling fans who are watching wrestling today have a taste for what they're delivering. And again, that's not a knock on what they're delivering, because I am a fan. I watch it each and every week on HDNet. But I just don't. I don't think that straight wrestling nowadays gets you anywhere.
I agree.
Thank you for that call down in Houston. I believe it was John. Frank, you're good with names.
I agree.
We'll remember this one together. Let's go to Blanchard Buzz, who wants to talk about WWE Raw. You can join us on the phones, by the way. The number 414-276-ESPN, or all over the world at 1-800-990-ESPN. Blanchard Buzz, you are live here on the Pro Wrestling Report.
Gentlemen, how are we doing?
The Killer Bee.
Fantastic. So I'm sitting watching Raw last night, and I don't know if it was me or if you guys would agree with this or not, but it just seemed like everything that was going on with Raw last night just seemed like, an edge or, something was changing, in the future. The whole Nexus thing and the lashing of Husky Harris, CM Punk's on Titantron, Suicide, is he going to jump, Cena's swearing all of a sudden, are we going PG-13? What is going on here, folks? What do you guys think?
Blanchard Buzz, thank you for that call, and it's actually fairly interesting that you mentioned that point, because in my notes here in front of me, and we were talking about it earlier, there was an edge to Raw this past Monday night. There was uncharacteristic behaviors on Raw this past Monday night. They went further than they've been willing to go in a very long time on Raw this past Monday night.
Well, there's no Senator run at the moment, so they could be just kind of sprinkle it, get a little taste, get people talking about it, just like our caller Blanchard Buzz did. So there was.
It was forced. The whole show seemed forced. It didn't seem genuine. They're going outside of what they've been trying to do for the last, year? And you know what's going to happen? They're putting all of it on CM Punk. Is he the real antichrist of professional wrestling right now?
Yeah.
Possibly.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, we see your Jeff Hardy, now we're going to raise you CM Punk.
I don't know if they saw his Jeff Hardy, though.
Well,
I saw their Jeff Hardy.
They've been in the locker room together. I'm sure they have. But here's the thing. Hashmark, Damian Nelson. It seems
Frank's here, too.
Well, yeah, but it's funnier to say Damian Nelson. Frank's name is way too long to pronounce.
Are you calling me funny? Are you saying I'm funny?
No, I'm just saying it's
what do you mean by funny? You mean funny ha-ha?
Funny ha-ha, yeah.
It's funny, huh?
Hey.
I got an ink pen here.
Yes, you do. Do you know how to use it?
Just like he did. Absolutely.
Oh, the Joker is what you're talking about. Batman.
So that was a pencil, and that was one of the best movie scenes of all time.
Absolutely. But see, now you're trying to get me off track and confuse me here. But
did that with 2 words.
Damn it. Where was I? Oh, yeah, CM Punk, the Antichrist of pro wrestling, It just seems like they're trying to make him the dark, evil dude right now.
The Dark Knight.
And I got to admit, Punk does a better job. His promos are convincing. His pace of his promos are great. Just has a whole different attitude and confidence about himself.
You saw that with the Straight Edge Society? And now you being the head of Nexus.
We're going to talk more about Genesis. We didn't finish that, but now that Raw has been brought up by a caller,
cut me off. That's fine.
No,
I'll lose my spot again.
That was a reset, so to speak, and now we're going back to the point at hand.
As you wish.
Is CM Punk comparable to anyone else in recent history in professional wrestling in his delivery of his not only persona, but of the story in which he's involved? You think back to him singing Happy Birthday to Rey Mysterio's daughter or whatever that was, and how sinister and evil and just creepy that felt. And then you look at the stuff he did this past week. CM Punk is a unique talent in professional wrestling. One I don't know that we've seen or could compare him to anyone in the past. Roberts. Yeah, there you go.
It's on the same
there
level.
you go.
You feel uncomfortable.
There you go.
You feel uncomfortable listening to it, but you watch because you're like, where's he going? Where's he going?
The sad thing is going to be is if they do things where they have been doing them, is they're going to build up Punk to be just sinister, and John Cena is going to beat him, and all that work, all that build up is going to be gone, and that's going to be heartbreaking because the guy is investing into his character right now, and he's doing a great job.
So this goes to Royal Rumble.
Well, you'd hope it would go through WrestleMania.
Well, Cena returns to the ring next week on Raw. We found out, but do you think it's going to be? You think it's going to be Punk and Cena at Mania?
I would like to see that. It would make sense.
So Punk won't be going after the WWE Championship. I'm sorry, Cena won't be going after the WWE Championship.
He doesn't have to. Hey, they got The Miz. He's the champ. They don't need John Cena anymore, right, Damian Nelson?
Right. Well, John Cena serves a certain fan, like you, Frank. I mean, you guys have you're sitting here wearing your Never Fear That T-shirts or whatever. Hustle, loyalty, and third in Wisconsin.
I have a Justin Gabriel shirt. What are you talking about?
Oh, yeah. Your next big thing for 2011.
Absolutely.
Really?
Absolutely.
All the heat I get for the people I enjoy as a professional wrestling fan.
At least
and
you pick a winner.
Who picks the winner?
You. He picked the 450
look at that.
Kid.
Oh, if that's what it takes to finally get some acknowledgement of my skill, my talent, my ability to identify the next big thing and the biggest stars in professional wrestling before they even know they're going to be those big stars, then fine. You can pick Justin Gabriel.
We're talking about Ken Anderson, the winner. Who do you think I was talking about? A little faux hawk kid?
What little faux hawk kid?
A little faux hawk. You know that video we watched earlier?
The vintage video this week, available right now on PWRshow.com.
Yeah,
check it out.
That right there.
It's a surreal
shows
video.
It all.
It shows it all. Yes, it does. It shows you the two men on top of two wrestling companies right now in this world 6 years ago when they were working together in the same company. Do you think when they did that interview 6 years ago, the Great American Bash, they thought either of them would be world champions or champions of their company?
Ken Anderson did.
Not in TNA wrestling, did he?
Of course he did.
This is the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com.
Get the latest fantasy information during Fantasy Sports Weekly, Saturday mornings at 9 on 540 ESPN.
What is this?
This is Roddy Piper, baby.
Oh, it absolutely is.
Yeah. Here comes the best part of the whole song.
The best part?
Yeah.
Whole song?
I've got to say yeah. For everybody, baby.
Welcome back.
For everybody. Yeah.
Welcome back to the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report here on 540 ESPN, streaming live at ESPNMilwaukee.com.
Is that what they call the sliders? The slider gimmick we talked about during the TNA pay-per-view?
Yeah, Jack's doing a great job with them.
You know what? Jack does a tremendous job. Hashmark, tremendous job.
Captain Jack.
Damian Nelson here along with the Cause. Justin Gabriel is his next big thing for 2011.
Absolutely.
And David Octavius the Tiberius David, Octavius,
that's for everybody,
Tiberius.
just to confirm.
Yes.
Hero. Hey, are you ready to tell the world when you're going to be on?
It's David Del Hero, by the way. I like that. I got the scarf now on the TV show. David Del Hero.
Are you ready to announce?
Rich, powerful, and handsome.
Are you ready to share with everybody out there the date you're going to?
You know what? Right now, the way it's looking, it's going to be on next Thursday.
You're going to be on Glenn Beck next Thursday.
Next Thursday, yes. Yeah. I'll be part of the panel.
Not the Glenn Beck radio show.
No, the TV show. So I'll be sporting the DWHS T-shirt with the sport coat, the David Del Hero scarf as well.
Why do you have this desire to have 14 different names? Are you a fugitive?
No. It just makes it easier to fly. I don't like the Octavius. I'm not an Octavius. I just got to set it straight. The HOFer, the Del Hero, it just works. It sounds better. Don't you agree?
We're taking your calls. The number 414-276-ESPN, 414.
Sounds like something on a menu.
276-3776.
Frank, please don't think of me as a menu item. That's disturbing. Sick freak.
1-800-990-ESPN, 1-800-990-3776. We talked a lot about Raw. Let's get back to talking about TNA Genesis from this past Sunday night on pay-per-view, because a big thing happened there. Matt Hardy making his debut for TNA Wrestling. Kaz, this is a big story that David and I talked about on the post show, which is available on pwrshow.com, but also on our iTunes application, Android application, and also on YouTube. But Kaz, Matt Hardy out of WWE. We saw him in December here at Blizzard Brawl from Great Lakes Championship Wrestling. He debuts in TNA Wrestling looking a bit like Tyler Rex. As a matter of fact, he got Tyler Rex trending on Twitter. That was the whole reason.
Yeah.
I was going
funny,
somewhere.
Ha ha. You know what? Yeah. Some people said he looked like Raven.
Kaz?
Milli Vanilli. Who knows? It's the dread.
It was much anticipated for his fans. I mean, he was rusty, but he's been out.
You know what?
I
don't think he was rusty. It's just Rob Van Dam is just a different kind of match to have.
That's a good point.
Tell me the last time Rob Van Dam had a match with someone where you're like, wow, that's match of the year.
Have you ever? Him and Jeff Hardy had a pretty good match at Invasion 2001.
Oh, okay, but that was what, 10 years ago? I'm just saying.
We were talking about Ring of Honor earlier. I think we're going to have some news on that in a minute.
I don't want anyone to say Jerry Lynn and Rob Van Dam because that was 20 years ago.
No, what I was going to say is I think Rob Van Dam is, I don't know how he's done it, but somehow or another he's got a cult following almost.
420, baby.
That indeed.
I'm sure that helps.
Does have something to do with it.
That's why Frank likes him.
Oh, no.
Just kidding. Just kidding. Not at all. That was not at all. Really?
Kaz, are you happy, not at all impacted, or not happy that Matt Hardy is now a part of TNA Wrestling?
I'm happy. It keeps adding to the talent pool there, and I think he's, depending on who he's working with, he'll put on a good match. But at the moment, I don't know who they're going to, they obviously with RVD, but what are his future plans? Obviously, and it all depends on who started the conversation. When he had the opportunity to go to TNA, who made that first call?
His brother Jeff?
Well, if that's the situation, then he needs leverage. And you know better than anyone, when a wrestler is a free agent, if TNA calls you, well, yeah, I'll listen. But if you're calling them, it's a different story.
Here's the sexy thing about going to work for TNA, okay? You work maybe 6 or 7 days a month, and you're still allowed to do activities outside of TNA.
Right.
These guys can do indies if they want. They can do other TV shows if they can do anything else that's not WWE related. They can go work for Ring of Honor. They can go to Japan. They can go wherever they want to go. That's what makes it sexy. They pretty much control their own schedule.
Right.
That's why he's there.
But, David, isn't that for the undisciplined a problem as well?
Well, it can be. But, guys that want to slow down on that schedule, that's where they're going to go. I mean, look, right now this week, they had the pay-per-view on Sunday. They taped Monday, they taped today, and they're going to tape tomorrow. And they'll have house shows, thrown in throughout the month.
Right.
So maybe 10 days this month they'll be working. That's pretty attractive to a lot of guys.
Absolutely.
And then they can work the indies on the weekends to get extra money there. It works for them.
Most of their house shows are during the week?
No, they're on the weekends. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah.
AJ Styles injured, replaced by Abyss in that match with Doug Williams. Abyss becomes the new TV champion in TNA Wrestling, taking in another title back to Immortal. A good match.
I liked it. I liked Abyss getting some gold around his waist. Like I said before, they've put a lot into him. They've made him a big player for Immortal and for they. And he finally, some fans may not like him, some do, some may have forgotten about him. But hey, a guy that has carried the ball since March or April of last year,
yep,
and has been a big player for them as far as establishing that storyline, he's finally rewarded. So we'll see.
Tag Team Championship changes hands as Beer Money becomes the 4-time TNA World Tag Team Champions, defeating the Motor City Machine Guns. Kaz, you're a fan of Beer Money. Robert Roode, James Storm.
Yep.
And now they are the champs again.
And like we've mentioned many times in the past, the tag team wrestling in TNA is the best out of comparing WWE and TNA. Beer Money and Motor City Machine Guns have carried that torch for a few years now, and they still make it work. And that's a testament to what they do as far as tag teams in TNA.
When I watch those two teams go at it, it reminds me of the British Bulldogs against Beefcake and Valentine.
Yeah, that's saying something.
And, of course, the Machine Guns are the Bulldogs. Then you got the two guys that slow them down in Beer Money, so it just makes all their stuff look that much better.
Yep.
We've also the 2011 Pro Wrestling Report Female Wrestler of the Year. We'll go over the winners of all the honors categories later on here. Madison Rayne retains the TNA Knockouts Championship against Mickie James. I think a lot of people assumed Mickie James was going to win and walk out the champion.
TNA is finally doing it right by bringing in somebody into their company and not putting gold on them right away.
Exactly.
And it's working because it establishes their talent as being superior, as being just as good. I like what they're doing there. Mickie James doesn't need to be the Knockouts champ right now.
Right. Madison Rayne, I think, does.
Yeah, I think it's better to have Mickie chase her than it is the other way around. You guys seem puzzled.
Frank does. Yeah. The X Division Championship goes to Kazarian. I think this is a great move. It's a good match between him and Jay Lethal. Yeah. Jay Lethal, who lost the championship. Again, another belt going over to Immortal. Devon and Bully Ray.
I'm sorry, I fell asleep during that match.
A lot of people saying, though, we got a lot of feedback that match was good.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know what, though? It shouldn't be a bad match. Those two guys have been around for a long time. They're not going to do anything crazy. They're going to tell a story with their match because they're not going to do all the flips and jumps and all that kind of stuff. But still, there was no reason to have that on the pay-per-view when you have guys like Samoa Joe, when you have the Pope, you have Rob Terry. Well, you know what I mean. You have other guys you could have put there.
It saddens me that this might be the end of this Jeff Jarrett MMA business because he said after defeating Kurt Angle that he is retiring and hanging up his MMA boots. And as we talked
MMA
about,
boots?
right, as we talked about on the wrap-up show on Sunday night, Jeff Jarrett, I think you said it, David, might have the most heat of anybody in the company.
And it's true legit heat.
You're right.
They don't like him.
Right. He's still getting the "you sold out" chance, still getting all kinds of play on that. He defeated Kurt. Well, the match was thrown out, but the real highlight of that match was one of the lowlights in all of professional wrestling, and an early nominee for Walk of Shame
match
in 2011.
Right.
There is no bigger perfectionist in pro wrestling today than Kurt Angle. And for them to show him fumble with the blade and drop it and then pick it up, That was the longest 2.5 seconds of my entire life watching wrestling.
I'm still watching it. I still feel like that image is on the screen. That's how long it wasn't, but was on.
And, when I watched it, I paused and I rewound to make sure that I wasn't dreaming, that I was watching something else. I was like, wow, there's no
one of the cardinal
way.
sins in wrestling.
You know what?
Years.
The problem is now some of you people might be a little bit disturbed and alarmed by this, but wrestling is predetermined. And sometimes they script out the match where the production truck knows what's going to be going on. They knew that was going to happen, and they still screwed it up. It's embarrassing.
And what it does, it gives the fuel to the WWE fans saying, see, they still don't get it.
Well,
but
here's the problem, though. I was, texting back and forth with some of the guys that were watching the show, and they were just like, wow, shocking.
Right. It's just it was a mistake.
No, it was more than a mistake because the production guys are all about making the match an illusion. It was a failure.
That's a mistake where you submit your resignation. That's how huge a mistake it was.
Yeah.
Because these things, granted, everybody should know when stuff's going to happen in the matchup, and I can't say with confidence that that's the way it is in TNA. But when you're taking that shot, you're looking at the shot you're about to take, and they took it in the middle of the whole thing going on. So it's like, well, what's Kurt doing? I don't know. Let's show everybody who's watching.
This is just a theory. It's because, and again, it's just my own opinion.
Mm-hmm.
When you're in the same place over and over and over, you get lazy at times, and that's what happens.
I can't buy that being the same place. That's what caused it.
But it could be part of it.
They don't have the right people taking care of that kind of a business.
As I said on the Honor Show last week, TNA needs to run their business and all that stuff right before they have any chance of being more successful as a wrestling company.
Agreed, absolutely.
I mean, that's just a fact. I mean, Frank, you're a businessman. You're in charge of marketing here for this show. I mean, you know how that stuff works.
Absolutely.
Speaking of in charge of marketing, I understand you got a gimmick you're releasing tonight.
A T-shirt.
That's how you're going to put it over?
Let me start that over. Frank, you're in charge of marketing here on the Pro Wrestling Report. I understand you got a gimmick you're releasing tonight.
Absolutely.
Channel your inner Don West.
Wild West.
I mean, your shirt looks just like something he'd wear. Got the little pointed collars with the white tips on them and big old cufflinks.
Here you go. PWRshow.com.
That's our website.
Absolutely. What we're going to do, we're going to have a T-shirt where we're all going to sign it.
Uh-huh.
Wait. You, me, Linda, Meathead, Jack, Tillman,
that T-shirt
Vintage
that
Fish.
you said was for your cousin now isn't for your cousin.
Correct. This is an opportunity.
Did you speak to legal about this? Well, I mean, my signature is worth a lot of money.
When legal is part of the family.
Here we go.
Do you know the mob is still a $90 billion business today as we speak? I'm baffled by that.
Okay, how would you know that?
It was on CNN.
Oh, so they do tax returns now?
It's estimated to still be a $90 billion business. They just stopped killing people. Well, as many.
Oh, so it was on CNN, so then it must be real.
CNN, I mean, they what is their tagline? It's like,
you know the coolest thing about CNN?
Fair and balanced?
Is Darth Vader does the voiceover.
Kaz was shilling.
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
$90 billion. I want to be the first.
It could happen. Anyway, we've all signed a T-shirt, and you'll have an opportunity.
It's an auction.
It is.
Huh. Where does bidding start?
When?
What? How much?
It will start.
How many ducats?
At $1 ducat.
One penny.
Correct.
What? My signature's worth more than a penny.
That's where it begins.
Oh, okay.
But this is a one-of-a-kind.
An autographed T-shirt by all of us.
Right. Pro
Wrestling Report T-shirt available at pwrshow.com. Tomorrow, an auction. When does it go? The end of the month? I think
we will.
Oh, I know. We'll do it until the Pope headlines the pay-per-view. So it could be all year. I'm kidding. I'm just kidding.
What are you going to do when he's on this show again soon?
I'm going to ask him if he's met the new TNA World Champion, Mr. Anderson.
It'll go until February 14th because we love our fans. And on the 14th, the highest bidder will receive this T-shirt.
And a phone call from the Cause, which is even better. International rate supply.
Yeah. That's all I need.
Phone calls from here from the studio.
Thanks, Kaz. I mean, you made me want to buy it.
Yeah.
This is the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report, streaming live on 540 ESPN. We're also live right now on Blog Talk Radio. And
hold on a second. I know how we're going to get it to go. We'll make sure that Linda wears it first, and then we'll sign it.
Go.
Is it going to be washed?
No, of course not.
That's just sick.
Some guys will love it.
This is the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN, streaming live at ESPNMilwaukee.com.
Listen, I'm not here to play games with you. I'm here to help you save up to 60% on last-minute flights. You walk away from this deal now, you're always going to wonder what might have been. I don't want that. I don't think you want that. Let's negotiate.
There's never been a better time to save on last-minute flights at Priceline. Book within 7 days of departure, and you can save up to 60% off on flights when you name your own price, only at Priceline.
Name your own price is different from fixed-price travel sites. Exact airline and flight itinerary shown only after purchase. All sales final.
This is Phil Hellmuth, Wisconsin native and God's gift to poker. Have an ego, son? And you're listening to 540 ESPN Radio.
Can I perform the Russian national anthem?
Hey, if you know the words.
That's all I know.
Wow.
Should I not have, is that too far?
This is Nikolai Volkov. Karamia, baby.
That's why I wanted to sing the Russian anthem.
This isn't the Russian national anthem.
No, it isn't. But
Speaking of Russian, did you see how fast the Kaz got out of here?
He's not happy.
I asked, Linda said she'd wear the shirt. He grabbed the shirt and took off out of here.
He was on his phone. Hey, babe, where you at? That's what you were saying.
I mean, Frank, she might be in bed sleeping or in bed or in. That's why he left.
Tango.
Yeah. You know, the funny thing is, everyone thought you were dating her. Little did they know.
Well,
Frank's.
Yeah. He cleans up the pieces. I mean, you know.
Nice.
You gotta move on.
Frank. What a stud.
TNA Genesis overall. I believe you rated it a pass, David Hero.
It was a passable pay-per-view. It was better than I expected.
Should they have advertised Matt Hardy?
No.
Should they have advertised the championship match?
No.
We're going to talk in more detail about those two topics on Primetime Friday night.
They could have advertised Matt, but they wanted people to buy. Maybe they weren't that confident with that. And they're like, well, let's make it a surprise and see if that sparks more buys.
How else does TNA surprise anybody, though, other than on live pay-per-view?
That's about it. Well, I don't know. That one Impact they had last year.
Yeah, but there's nothing coming up. I mean, that was a year ago blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Coming up is the second hour of the Pro Wrestling Report here on 540 ESPN.
I have hot news about a new wrestler taking indie bookings.
Hot news. Caliente Habanero.
Absolutely.
It's the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report. We're live on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com.
Oh, I'm sorry. We are through talking about John Cena. This is the CM Punk show now.
Barrett attacking the Big Show. What is Barrett doing here? How smart. Go, let it go. That's what a college education and a good woman will do for you. Now Ziggler is the #1 contender to the World Heavyweight Champion. You gotta be kidding me. Matt Hardy is in TNA.
As I predicted, the new TNA Total Non-Stop Action, Total Non-Stop Champion, Mr. Anderson.
Celebrating 12 years on the air and voted 2009 Broadcast Show of the Year. This is the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Hour 2 of the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN. We're live on PWRshow.com, Blog Talk Radio, and ESPNMilwaukee.com. Damian Nelson and David Octavius, the Tiberius Hero, here with you live on 11111. It's our second radio show of 2011. I almost forgot last week.
How could you forget last week?
Well, I have memory issues.
Last week was tremendous.
For you?
It was.
Yeah.
Hey, I got to bring it up. My whole rant today on Twitter.
Well, apparently, I don't know if you're bringing it up first or if a user in the chat room brought it up first. I think the username was Field System that says, Hero says, the haters of Hardy wouldn't say it to his face.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's haters all over Twitter and all over Facebook and all over YouTube and whatever else. And, for the most part, I'm all about freedom of speech, and I get a good kick out of it, and I'll laugh, and some of the stuff is actually rather humorous and funny. But some of you guys are just mean. I mean, just how disrespectful you can be to somebody through all these social media outlets, which weren't designed for that at all. But I highly doubt 98% of you out there that rip on whether it be Matt Hardy, Shane Helms, Hulk Hogan, whoever on Twitter, Damian Nelson. I doubt you'd actually, if you saw him face to face, you wouldn't say anything. You just sit there and you hide behind your little screen name, Wrestling Mark 316 or whatever you might be. And
nice.
Well, I mean, it is what it is, and for me, it's just frustrating because, these guys are, a public figure, and they may say things that are controversial and whatnot. But if you don't like the person, just unfollow them. Why you got to sit there and just act all tough and, thinking you're getting over on somebody when you really think about it, all you're doing is feeding the egos of those people that you're attacking, because we sit back and say, hey, you're wasting your time and energy and moments out of your life to throw hate at whoever.
Absolutely.
So,
and keep in mind, it takes energy to hate. So if you hate anybody, they've won.
Yeah, absolutely.
Goldust actually retweeted something that I can't repeat on air from a user just a few minutes ago, actually. I'll paraphrase. This person sent to Goldust. Well, it's public. It's Twitter. The username is ANAI-Assassin. Assassin. Said, you're a goof. Vince made Goldust, not you. The guy behind the paint is a bleep, bleep, bleep. And then encourages him to overdose. Now, to your point, what did Goldust do? What did Dustin Rhodes do? Runnels do? Retweeted it. No comment needed.
No.
It just
shows how stupid those people are.
Yeah.
And you know what? Like I said, I guarantee that toolbox, if he saw Goldust walking down the street, he wouldn't say boo to him.
And we've got, I would venture to say a lot of people would challenge you and say they would actually say it.
Of course
they would. Stand behind a barricade at a wrestling event to that wrestler.
Mm-hmm. They wouldn't walk up to him in a bar and say, hey, Goldust, go overdose or whatever else. And not that they would, and someone says, well, they'd be afraid of their lives. Well, then you don't say something that could, put your life in jeopardy.
You can certainly express your opinion about someone, but what's the need for the name calling?
Exactly.
What's the need for the hate in it?
Exactly.
And that's where things cross the line. We get a bunch of feedback.
There is so many people that want to be, yet never will be, and it drives them nuts. They think that they are just as good when the fact of the matter is they never will.
Well, David Harrell, you haven't had to go off on a tirade like that since you said WWE sucked.
Yeah, it's been what?
Now you're a TNA hater, right? I mean, it changes every month.
Yeah. No, I'm a TNA apologist.
Apologist?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, we did actually find some confirmation that from ROH itself, they are indeed done with Ring of Honor and HDNet. Last two tapings coming up at the end of this month. They're hoping to do a live special on HDNet, but they're without a TV outlet and going to have to go back to, I guess, DVDs and Internet, which is not a good thing.
Well, they can do a Ring of Honor on their website, couldn't they? Put the show on there?
They can do on demand. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But that's certainly not as beneficial as being on TV.
Gotcha. Well, hey, I got some hot news.
Oh, you did tease that before we took the time out. We still have to talk about Raw from this past Monday night. Star of the Week, Versus. We're still taking those Versus comments. We've got some comments to read from our Facebook page in just a minute here. But you've got hot news, you say.
I do have hot news. You know, there's a reality, child actor. You've heard of Dustin Diamond? Screech.
Yeah.
You know, he was on Celebrity Fit Club. Actually had his house foreclosed on. He had to sell some T-shirts. Well, he is now so desperate for cash, he is now taking independent wrestling bookings.
Really?
Yes. And if all of my...
He can't sell any more DVDs?
Of a sex tape? I don't think so. Well, does anyone buy one? You know, but listen, super friends, get your pen and paper handy because I have his number. That
what?
Well, yeah, he wants to start doing wrestling shows, and he wants.
You're getting ready to give away Screech's number.
Yeah,
on this very program
for his bookings.
All
you know,
right.
he lives here in Wisconsin.
Does he take text?
Well, it's a mobile number, so I'm sure you can text
Wow.
it or call it if you want to. But if you want to get a hold of Screech to book him for your wrestling event, birthday party, bar mitzvah, whatever you want to do, it's real simple. It's area code 414-915-9292. It's area code 414-915-9292. Screech taking indie bookings. He wants to be a pro wrestler. He did wrestle for me once for the Body Slams on Ice, where it was the Screechy Poo and the Blue Meanie against the late, great, lovely Luna Vachon and Gangrel. And Luna beat the bejesus out of him. It was #tremendous.
Wow.
So, yeah, if you want to book the Screecher,
he's taking them direct, huh?
414-915-9292.
Dustin Diamond.
Yeah, Screech.
Dave,
Dustin Diamond. Yes.
Do you have Kelly Kapowski's number in there as well?
That one is for me, homie. Come on, now, I can't share everything, you know.
Pro Wrestling Report is on Facebook. You can go ahead and click the links at pwrshow.com and go ahead and interact with us on Facebook. Get some exclusives available there from time to time, and we're taking some comments on tonight's show so far. And Debo in the new year said, CM Punk rocks as the leader of Nexus, but what are they going to do about the Gabriel and that redhead guy with no personality?
See, that's what I'm talking about.
Another comment from Primetime Dwayne Moore. RVD had a great ladder match on Raw versus Eddie Guerrero for the Intercontinental Championship. That was for you, David.
Yeah. Next.
Yep. Well, a couple people responding on our Twitter page. Again, we're on Twitter. Our Twitter name is @PWR Show. So you can go ahead and send us those comments, and we're still looking for your submissions for Versus. We got a good one that just came in from a user. That's going to be an interesting but short discussion if we choose that one. So, David Hero, Monday Night Raw this past Monday night.
Yes.
We talked about CM Punk. We talked about Alberto Del Rio. But the big story really is Shawn Michaels going into the WWE Hall of Fame. First person announced going into
Why
Hall
is that
of
a
Fame.
big story?
I think it's always a big story when someone's announced as being inducted into the Hall of
Coco
Fame.
Beware, was that a big story?
That was a big joke.
Coco Beware is in before King Kong Bundy.
And?
Who, by the way, is on Twitter at RealKKBundy.
Oh, he's on Twitter.
Yes.
You don't think it's a big deal that Shawn Michaels was announced 1 year after his retirement?
No, you know what? It is. It's a huge deal because it's Shawn Michaels. But what this tells me is that maybe they don't have the big roster lined up for the Hall of Fame that everyone had predicted they did.
Well, a lot of people predicting and reporting that it was going to be a WCW-themed Hall of Fame. Maybe it still will be outside of Shawn Michaels. They could do whatever they want. The big carrot that's out there that may or may not be getting dangled is Sting. Is Sting going to be a part of not only WrestleMania, but might he be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame, which has all kinds of problems, in my opinion.
Tell me.
Have they ever, aside from the Vern Gagnes of the world and some of the older school people, have they ever inducted anyone into the Hall of Fame that really never worked in WWE? Because Sting never did.
Vergania?
No, I said aside from him.
I'm trying to think. Let me
I don't think they
process
have.
this.
We'll take a timeout. We'll give you a few moments to process it, Wikipedia it. This is the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN. We're streaming live at ESPNMilwaukee.com.
Read blogs from your favorite 540 ESPN personalities. Log on to the all-new ESPNMilwaukee.com.
Welcome back to the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report here on 540 ESPN, streaming live at ESPNMilwaukee.com. Strike Force!
You know what's
Vintage!
funny?
Lightning bolts on their tights.
You know what's funny?
What's that?
Is that I asked Frank to pick a couple songs for tonight. And this was the one song he picked.
Strike Force? Tito Santana and...
You can tell he's smitten. You know? Girls and Cars?
Hey now.
You know?
Yeah.
God bless the Frank Cosentino.
Yes, indeed. Well, welcome back to the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN. And streaming live at ESPNMilwaukee.com. We've got a couple tweets, David, here. We've got some new listeners out there loving the show so far. I want to welcome any of you listening for the first time and remind you that you can interact with us. We're on Twitter, PWR Show, which you already know. We're on Facebook. You can link to that through pwrshow.com. And also, we take your phone calls here live on air. The number is 414-276-ESPN or 1-800-990-ESPN. Now, before we took that time out, we were speculating as to whether or not Sting might get inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. And if he were to, would he be the first person who really never spent time in WWE to get inducted who didn't wrestle in the 60s and 70s? And he would.
Pretty much.
Nobody has been inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame that didn't wrestle for the company aside from having been there at some time in the past. In general. Now, we're Antonio Inoki, Vern Gagne, Gordon Solie, I don't think ever worked for WWE either, but that's different.
Yes, he did.
He did? WWF.
No, back when Vince bought
Georgia Wrestling.
Yes, Georgia Championship Wrestling.
That lasted about
4 weeks. Antonio Inoki wrestled for Vince.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in general, someone with the background of a Sting has never been inducted into the WWE
Sting
Hall of
is
Fame.
the only WCW star that was made by WCW that has never left WCW.
And there were a lot more of those stars. Goldberg, Lex Luger, made by WCW.
But they all wound up working for Vince.
Lex Luger did, yes.
And Goldberg.
Yeah.
He did. He had a year.
It was a year.
Brock Lesnar, The Rock, Triple H.
Got a call, follow-up to your little tirade earlier on, David Hero. It's a caller from Michigan. Eric, you're live here on the Pro Wrestling Report.
Gentlemen, hello.
Amigo.
What up?
So, pretty much just wanted to call in on your whole thing about hating wrestlers and their gimmicks that people hate them for. There's always been a lot of hate on Goldust, as you brought up Goldust's name. And
really?
The next thing,
you mean Dustin Reynolds?
Well, yeah. I mean, everybody's always thought, it's kind of like how they speculate with his brother about calling him gay and everything.
Whoa, wait a minute. There's speculation on that?
I've heard a lot of speculation on it, and it's obviously untrue. I mean, the guy could be dating Layla from Lay Cool. But, as a guy, I was in a small wrestling promotion at one point in time, and I played a gay owner of the organization.
How'd that make you feel?
It's a characterization. I was playing a character. I did what I was paid to do, and I loved every second of it.
Okay.
And it's the point that there's no reason to hate these people because of the characters that they play.
Yeah, I mean, that's valid. I think that was the point, to a degree that David was making earlier. But think back to the 50s and 60s in wrestling. And think of that call, Eric, out in Michigan. Think back to the 50s and 60s in wrestling. You have people bringing guns and knives to wrestling events, attacking wrestlers.
Batteries.
They believed it. They wanted to kill. They wanted to get back because they hated people so much.
Read Bobby Heenan's books.
Absolutely.
He will tell you all about it. He's been stabbed. He's been shot at. Everything.
I was spit on, ridiculed, everything, and it never bothered me due to the fact that I was playing a character, and I knew that I was doing it well enough that people were reacting. The more people react to everything that's going on, the more money this person is going to make, the more they're going to be invested in.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you're right. But the challenge is, and Eric, again, thank you for that call out in Michigan. The challenge is how far is too far, and would today's social media world, would people who are so brave on the YouTubes, Facebooks, and Twitters of the world be as brave when face to face with the people that they choose to attack socially?
Absolutely not.
That's the question.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for that call, Eric in Michigan. This one.
I learned a lot from Eric tonight.
Let's go to Simon in St. Petersburg. Simon, you're live. Simon on line 3. You're live.
3, 2.
All right, we'll try back. We'll try back with Simon in a minute. How about go to Justin down in. Actually, Simon, you're live. Sorry about that.
That's okay. Am I here?
Yes, you're live on the air.
Fantastic. How you doing, guys?
Tremendous.
Look, my whole thing is, I have all due respect for the business and everything else. I even trained for a few years, so believe me, I'm I'm there. But if this guy or TNA decides that they're going to sign talent that are looking for a lighter work schedule and a lax drug testing policy, and they can't swing a chair properly, then to me, they get what they get. And if I spend money on this product, then therefore, I should be able to say whatever I want. I've been spending money on this product for 25 years. I'm a fan, and I understand that, for everybody out there that has those funny jokes and says things that are rude, that's fine. But I lost my favorite wrestler, who would be Ken Anderson, for weeks. Why?
I have no problem with people complaining or griping or whatnot. The problem I have is when someone goes on Twitter or whatever it may be, and they drop F-bombs on somebody and they say they aren't worth that's where, for me,
that's the issue.
That crosses the line. I don't care if you say, hey, I don't like you,
Please do.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But when it becomes a personal attack, it's just someone's being a coward. It's like, you know what, if you can't say it to that person's face, then don't say it. There's no reason, because you just look like a fool.
And
That's
98.9% of those people who do that will say right now that they would say it to their face, when we all know, including you, Simon, they wouldn't.
I would.
I mean,
Look, all I'm saying here.
I want to see. Hold on a second. I want to see the toolbox that rips on Kevin Nash and calls him, lazy and a jackass or whatever else. I want to see that person go and say it to Kevin Nash's face. Because I guarantee no one's going to stand up to a 7-foot, 325-pound giant and try to pick a fight with him.
Kevin Nash helped make that company. All right, so for him to come in there, collect a paycheck just like all those other guys, to do whatever the hell they want to, off guys that could actually be making that product better.
But whose fault is that?
Well,
that's not their fault.
That's their fault. No,
that's TNA. That's Dixie Carter. That's the management that brings those people in. Because
So what you're telling me is don't hate the player, hate the game?
Absolutely.
All right, fine. Okay.
It's a dirty game.
All right. And you know what? I hate the game. I'm out.
Well, hold on. You said you trained for a little while, okay?
Yeah.
So let's say Dixie Carter comes to you and says, you know what, amigo? I'm going to give you, $250,000 a year, and you're only you're going to have to work 6 days a month.
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to do?
Wait a minute. Am I an established talent?
It doesn't matter.
Do I have a responsibility to the people who put me over and made me who I am to earn $250,000?
No, you're Bill Goldberg. Okay?
Oh, okay. Well,
and you're coming in, no one knows who you are, and we're going to put you over on everybody for 176 straight wins.
What responsibility does a wrestler have to fans for their contract amount? I don't understand that, Simon.
He has a responsibility to the fans. He has a responsibility to Ken Anderson and the gash on his head.
Oh, yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
But there's accidents in wrestling. I mean, it's...
Oh, come on. You know what? This guy's been around for a long time.
You never said his name, by the way.
Okay.
You're talking about Jeff Hardy.
Hold on a second.
He hasn't said his name, but he's talking about Jeff Hardy.
That's fine. You know what? But here, you take your Jeff Hardy chair shot to Ken Anderson, okay?
Okay.
And I'll raise you Owen Hart breaking Steve Austin's neck at SummerSlam.
All right. But with Owen Hart, what are you telling me? You're telling me that the WWE has a drug testing policy, and they're going out there and nobody's...
Simon, you're making an assumption, an unfair assumption that Jeff Hardy was under the influence.
Okay.
Can you prove that he was? Can we prove that he wasn't? No. But you can't assume that he was.
Well, let me ask you this.
And there was a report, by the way. There was a report around that time that Jeff Hardy had showed up and was unable to work. Many people believe that. That's not true.
Well, why else would you go to TNA?
No, that's not fair, Simon. No, that's not fair. Simon, they do have a drug testing policy. While it's not as formal as WWE's, they do have a drug testing policy. You can't, and it is not fair to anybody, wrestler, any sports figure, any public figure, anybody, to allege or accuse them of being under the influence of a drug when you have absolutely no evidence to the fact that they were at that time. Now, obviously, Jeff Hardy has his situation that he's going to be finalizing and dealing with on January 20th. But to make these assumptions based off of what you read from what's reported on the Internet out there is not fair to anybody, specifically not fair to yourself, because it doesn't make you sound smart at all. This is the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN, streaming live at ESPNMilwaukee.com.
They're the Starsky and Hutch of sports talk. It's Drew Olson and Dan Needles on the D-List. Weekdays at 11 on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com.
I want to be an ice cream bar. Yes! Welcome back to the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN, streaming live at ESPNMilwaukee.com, also on Blog Talk Radio and PWRshow.com. I want to thank our callers so far. You can be one of them as well. The number 414-276-ESPN, 414-276-ESPN. I totally drew a blank for a moment there. Also, 1-800-990-ESPN, 1-800-990-3776. Damian Nelson here alongside David Hero. David Hero, you've ignited a firestorm.
No, I have not.
No, a firestorm of good conversation. Let me say this as a global statement. We will have a conversation with anybody who chooses to call in. You can agree with us or disagree with us, but be prepared to have that conversation. And there's nothing wrong with a little spirited discussion. David Hero's getting ready for his appearance on Glenn Beck next Thursday, so... well, you two probably won't argue about anything.
Ooh, of course
you
not.
and Glenn.
Hey, you know what?
Are you going to... Isn't it a requirement to be on the show? You got to bring tissue?
No.
A box of tissue?
No.
Is Boehner going to be on?
No. It's a little thing on wrestling. You asked me if I wanted to come on. How could I say no?
Let's go down to San Antonio, Texas on the phone lines. Justin, thank you for your patience. You're live on air.
How are you tonight, fellas?
Tremendous. How are you, Justin?
Doing very well.
Good.
I was just calling in tonight. I was just, thinking today at work, and I was thinking about me and my friends were having a discussion, about the best wrestling gimmicks of all time and worst. My personal, I'll say top three best wrestling gimmicks in my personal opinion would be the Ministry Undertaker from 98, 99 when there was the whole thing with the Austin, Papa Shango, a personal pick of mine, and just Mr. Perfect. I think it's a lot easier to have to name out more worst wrestling gimmicks than to have best wrestling gimmicks. My worst ones are like Mantar, the Shockmaster, Samba Simba, the Goon, Max Moon, the Ravens Flock, Lodi, Vinny Vegas. So I just want to hear, basically what's your personal, best and worst wrestling gimmicks.
This one is one we probably should think about before answering.
Could be a top 10 show.
I think we're going to push this till next week. I think we did do 10 best gimmicks on the TV show a couple of years ago. Maybe it's time to do it again. But anyway, Justin, thank you. Great subject being brought up. And Shockmaster, it's going to be difficult to beat that.
Beaver
Had
cleavage.
he not fallen?
Beaver cleavage.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was called out on air. If Shockmaster hadn't fallen, would it have been as bad? When he broke through the wall? And was that on Flair for the Gold?
No.
Feels like it was. It was the same set.
It might have been.
I think it was.
Who's that secret partner? It's going to be. All I have to say is our partner is going to shock the world because he is none other than the Shockmaster. All right.
Little pyro.
Brutal. No, that's him falling through the wall.
Oh, Shockmaster. And was that live?
Yes.
Was
That's what
it
made
Clash
work.
of Champions?
I think so, yes.
Oh, well, Justin in San Antonio, we're going to answer that question next week. Shockmaster, it's going to be difficult to beat, but best and worst gimmick of all time. There's a few names that come to mind for best. Worst, it's going to be more difficult to pick. Let's go to Devin in Yonkers, New York. You're live here on the Pro Wrestling Report.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Tremendous. How are you, Devin?
I'm doing good.
Good.
I just wanted to get your opinion on, based on I know we still have Royal Rumble in the Elimination Chamber, but over the past year with all the stories going on, in your opinion, what is the most logical main event that can be at WrestleMania this year?
The most logical main event? You mean the match that the show is wrapped around this year? Like
yes.
HBK Taker last year, like Rock Austin at 18 or whatever it was, the marquee match.
Yes. Hopefully being a championship match this time.
Yeah, hopefully. Thank you for that call, Devin. David, this one's difficult so far out. We still need a winner of the Rumble to make things a little more clear because that'll show you in what direction everything's going to go in. You got to think it surrounds either Triple H or The Undertaker.
I don't know. There's just so many scenarios right now that WrestleMania can go. I mean, do the fans really want to see Taker or Triple H in the main event, or do they want to see Randy Orton and The Miz, or do they want
the latter,
or do they want to see John Cena and The Miz?
The latter.
You know, the ladder match of
L-A-T-T-E-R.
Oh, I was gonna say they all want to see Money in the Bank. You know what? That's probably where Del Rio's going to wind up. Is in Money in the Bank.
That'd be perfect. Because he could win that and carry that briefcase around, or have someone carry it for him.
He'd have his little Enrique carry it around for him. Is that his name, Enrique?
No.
What is his name?
Ricardo Rodriguez.
You know what? Rodrigo.
And his little Enrique. Really? Really? Really?
Yeah, Miz.
Really?
Yeah, Miz, really. ¿Cómo se dice really in Spanish?
I told you last week I don't speak any other languages. So actually, I speak a little bit of Bulgarian.
You speak spin. So
Thank you for that call, Devin from out in Yonkers, New York. You think Tommy Dreamer was anywhere around? From Yonkers, you know?
Yes, he is from Yonkers.
Is that store still around Yonkers?
I don't know. I don't shop in malls. I shop online.
Really?
Yeah. I don't like lines.
Are you going to bid on that PWR T-shirt that Frank so eloquently sold earlier?
Linda's going to wear it. It's going to be a Linda Warren shirt.
Now, look, we need to clarify. Linda does not come with the shirt.
No.
That's a whole different situation.
But who knows what's going to be on it when she wears it. I mean, it could be her perfume and a little makeup, some glitter. You never know.
Yes, the recipients of the 2010 Pro Wrestling Report Lifetime Achievement Award. Action, Smash, and Demolition, David Hero, I Pop, I Mark. Out for this theme song.
It's a great theme song. It's perhaps one of the best wrestling theme songs of all time.
Indeed, we are live at 1-11-11. Damian Nelson and David Octavius Hero. Coming to you here from the beautiful downtown
we
ESPN
only got
Milwaukee
15
Studios,
minutes left
540
until
ESPN
1:12.
Studios. We got a lot to get to, David Hero, a ton. Let's go right into our hot news and rumor killers. Stevie Richards has quit TNA. Stevie Richards has quit TNA.
That's amazing.
He sent out that information today, indicating that he quit TNA today and wants to move on. He's been in a lot. He's a techie. He's been into a lot of technical stuff. He has a show on YouTube that he's been doing.
I think he's a personal trainer now also.
Yeah, he has been doing that too.
Along with Scotty Too Hotty.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Manna on Twitter.
Yep.
And at the Scotty Too Hotty.
The Scotty Too Hotty.
The Scotty.
At the Scotty Too Hotty.
Number 2 Hotty.
And Brock Lesnar. He's going to be a coach on the next season of The Ultimate Fighter.
So he's not going to be at WrestleMania, amigos.
It's closer to that, but there's still that option.
You know what we got to do, Damian Nelson?
What do we have to do? Go to WrestleMania? We're already going.
We're going to go to WrestleMania.
We're booked.
But the PWRshow.com site,
yeah.
We should probably list all the real Twitter accounts.
Everybody's?
Well, the ones that matter, the ones that are real.
You know, we actually do have a list of TNA wrestlers, WWE wrestlers that we're going to complete this week. It's available right now. Just look at our lists under our PWR show account and follow those lists, and you'll have all those wrestlers available. There are a lot of fakes out there.
A lot of fakes out there.
And Twitter's not as on the whole verification thing as they should be, because some people do have verified accounts and others don't. Like the fake Miz on Facebook.
They haven't verified me yet. It's kind of frustrating. I'm just saying.
Jesse Neal has just signed a 3-year contract extension with TNA, announced by him last night.
Good for him. Congratulations. You know what? That was a kid, but when I saw him in the sweats, I'm like, oh, my God.
Yeah.
Brutal.
Yep.
But, wow, does he have a great look? You know?
Yeah, he does.
I mean, 10 years ago, he'd be a bigger star than what he is right now.
Vintage video this week, David Hero.
Yes, it is vintage.
It's The Miz interviewing Ken Anderson.
You know what? That's twice now.
It's available right now at pwrshow.com.
The TNA World Champion.
The vintage video section.
And the WWE Champion. How does that make you feel?
Like taking a phone call. Let's try Sal in Los Angeles again. Sal, you're live here on the Pro Wrestling Report.
Hey, you guys.
Hey, Sal. Sorry about that mix-up earlier.
That's fine.
Well, honestly, Damon just didn't want to talk to you, but that's okay.
So you guys thinking about Jerry Lawler being in the main event for the past month? I mean, this is not the AWA last time I checked.
Yeah, nor is it Mid-South. I don't understand this at all. To me, they've got so many. What?
Here's why. Okay?
Thank you, Sal.
No. I'm going to explain it to Sal and to you because, you know
all
what?
Right. I'm waiting.
I have spent a lot of time trying to figure this out.
I'm sure you have.
And here's what it comes down to.
What does it come down to?
You got Alex Riley and The Miz against Randy Orton.
The World Wrestling Entertainment Champion.
Yes, not the World Champion, but the WWE Champion. Against Randy Orton, and throw in somebody that is not quite as strong as Alex Riley. If you if it is Randy Orton and John Morrison against The Miz and Riley, we all know it's going to be a squash, that Morrison and Orton are more talented than Miz and Riley. So you got to bring in someone to balance it out. And Jerry the King Lawler, even though he is a legendary Hall of Famer and former AWA World Champion, he gives the vulnerability to that team, and that's why they're using him right now, because they don't have any other stars available to put in that spot.
When you look at the situation between he and Michael Cole, Sal, do you have anything else for us?
Does that mean that Jerry Lawler's 3-0 now, that his team won?
Pretty much. Yeah, he's 3-1, I think. Wow. He's won.
Thank you for that call, Sal, out in Los Angeles. What does this say for the future of Jerry Lawler? Josh Matthews been filling in a lot. Josh Matthews doing a great job, I think, on Raw. You've got the whole situation between Lawler and Cena. You've got Lawler wrestling a lot of matches.
You got to wonder if maybe Lawler's contract is up soon.
He got his WWE Championship match, the one he had never gotten all the time he'd been there. Is this the homebound journey for Jerry Lawler?
Or maybe is this Jerry Lawler's chance to wrestle at WrestleMania, which he's never done before?
Against who, though? Riley. There you go.
Could be Riley.
There's your match. Really?
There's that word again.
No, I mean, I'm baffled if that were to happen.
Why?
At WrestleMania, those two? Well, the specialness is Jerry Lawler's first WrestleMania match, but David, after seeing him wrestle for the last month on Raw, is that as significant?
Well,
who knew before Jerry Lawler mentioned it, or somebody mentioned it, that he hadn't had a match at WrestleMania?
Well, I knew. You didn't know that?
Not immediately. I was not immediately aware of that.
That's hurtful.
Thank you for that call, Sal, out in Los Angeles. Thank you, David Hero, for not really answering the question.
I did answer the question. I thought it was rather clear and concise. Ask the Chapman to answer
this Friday, the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime Television, we're going to go in-depth on CM Punk's transition from commentator on Raw to the leader of the Nexus. We're going to talk in-depthly, more so than we did this week, about Raw. We've got our mark-out moment of the week, which I think you'll be surprised by.
That was your mark. This will be your
big discussion on SmackDown, the Social Media Center with Frank and Linda, with your comments from Facebook, Twitter, and other mediums.
YouTube.
And all that this Friday on demand at PWRshow.com. We said we were going to go over the list of winners from the 2010 Pro Wrestling Report Honors David Hero. That show available on demand at PWRshow.com as well. Are you ready for this? Female Wrestler of the Year, we talked about it earlier, was Madison Rayne of TNA Wrestling. You can find all the discussion and reasoning why by watching that honors broadcast. Broadcast Team of the Year went to the pay-per-view flagship team of WWE of Michael Cole, Jerry the King Lawler, and Matt Striker.
Barely know her.
TNA Pay-Per-View of the Year, Bound for Glory. WWE Pay-Per-View of the Year was Money in the Bank, where the current WWE champion won his chance to be the champion. Breakthrough Star of the Year was Wade Barrett, just barely beating out the current WWE champion. Mark Out Moments of the Year, David Hero, yours was Ken Anderson thanking God that he was a butthole.
Yes.
Kaz's was the promo between Ric Flair and Jay Lethal on that very memorable Impact. And mine was the winning of the WWE Championship by He Who Is Awesome.
Shocking.
Fans' choice. The fans had the opportunity to pick a winner for Wrestler of the Year. This is a category we also chose. We'll get to that in a minute. But the fans' choice was Chris Jericho, David Hero.
It makes more sense to me. He was a stud last year.
2011, next big thing. Each of us selected one. The Kaz picking Justin Gabriel. I'll repeat that. The Kaz picking Justin Gabriel.
Big time.
David Hero picking Alberto Del Rio with Roberto Rodriguez.
Yes.
You don't even know his name, but yet he's your next big thing, Alberto Del Rio.
I know Alberto's name. I don't know what his little buddy's name is.
My pick was the current WWE champion.
Do you know who that guy reminds me of?
Who that?
Did you ever see Buck Rogers?
Yeah, I love the beginning of that show, the opening, when they're taking off.
He reminds me of Twinkie.
I'm sorry?
You know the little robot, Twinkie? Beady, beady, beady.
Okay, when's the last time that show may have aired on Sci-Fi? Because it was on Sci-Fi for a while. 5, 7, 10 years ago?
I don't know. I'm sure most
that
of
would be the
have
last
no
time
idea who I'm talking
I thought about Twinkie.
Beady, beady, beady.
I always thought that was like a C-3PO ripoff.
It kind of was, but Ricardo Rodriguez has the same hair as Twinkie.
2010 Wrestling Walk of Shame Award went to TNA's move to Monday nights and subsequent move back to Thursday nights. Tag Team of the Year went to the Motor City Machine Guns. And the Wrestler of the Year, David Hero, before we get to Wrestler of the Year, we had a very special honor, that being the Fan of the Year, which went to Jonathan Orchard, a listener and viewer from across the pond. We're going to have another Fan of the Year this year. Will it be you? This year's Wrestler of the Year is deemed by us, at least for January through October of last year, Randy Orton, the Viper.
Not surprising. He's a stud.
Did you get your Micro Touch Max yet?
You know what?
You ordered one.
You know what's so funny is look at that is quite the gimmick. Who in the hell takes the chance trimming your eyebrows with that thing? You could buzz them all off.
Well, why'd you order it?
Oh, for other purposes. Micro Touch.
Versus. This week's Versus winner submitted by Boonda713 on Twitter. Boonda713 on Twitter. The match, David Hero. We talked about it earlier when comparing these two superstars. Current superstar CM Punk versus a man who he is similar to from the past, Jake the Snake Roberts.
Two guys very similar with their promos. They make you listen. They suck you in. Not, huge physical specimens, but great in-ring technicians. And, it'd be kind of tough. I mean, for me, you always got to go with the legends 9 times out of 10. I think CM Punk could give Jake Roberts a bunch of fits, but Jake Roberts wrote the book on being evil and sadistic. So I'm going to go with the master of the DDT, Jake the Snake.
It's lost sometimes in the art of Jake the Snake Roberts is how perfectly he gave promos. And we're going to find a couple of them, put them up on the PWR website, pwrshow.com, so you can see that they rarely yelled, rarely raised his voice. Everything was almost a whisper.
He made you listen.
Exactly.
He made you turn up the TV to listen to what he was saying.
Yep. And I remember he would normally have one arm crossed and one the other, on his face, and it was intellectual, his discussion. But remember how great that feud was between he and Ravishing Rick Rude, when Rick Rude had his wife airbrushed on his tights.
Yes.
And that went it felt like a year and a half.
Cheryl was hot. I tell you, Jake.
Did she ever get involved really with it?
Not really.
I thought she kissed Rude or something like that, or he grabbed her.
He tried to kiss her, is what it was.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Jake the Snake Roberts versus CM Punk. That would be fun. That would be nice. Hey, it was right here in this very city back in 1996 where Jake almost had his big comeback when he could have won, it seemed like, the King of the Ring.
Instead, it was who?
It was the Ultimate Warrior's last WWE pay-per-view.
It was Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Oh, and it was
Austin
also where Austin 316 was created.
Yes.
It was also where Hunter Hearst Helmsley wrestled Aldo Montoya on the pre-show, the free-for-all.
Wow.
It was right after that Madison Square Garden deal.
PJ Polaco was
Aldo Montoya. That's who he was in WWE.
Yeah, don't try to convince them with Alberto Del Rio. I know where you're going with that. Knock it off.
We return to Monday nights next Monday night.
Wait. It's going to be fun. Back on Monday nights, we can talk about Raw, fresh as it happens.
Absolutely. And hopefully they give us something to talk about next week. We know John Cena returns to the ring. Maybe he won't swear this week.
Del Rio will be there.
He got a slap on the left hand, David Hero.
Oh, yeah, because the right hand's a little something. But, yeah, it's going to be Del Rio will be back on Raw. Give us something to talk about. Maybe they'll have a Divas match. And you know what?
Maybe.
You know what I saw over the weekend?
Maybe they'll have a tag team championship match.
Gail Kim worked heel over the weekend.
Yes, she did.
I got to talk to Gail.
I thought you liked him, Eagle.
I love Gail Kim, but I don't. Her. Can you imagine her and Alicia Fox being a tag team?
In a wrestling match?
Or Damien, stop. They're friends now. Be nice.
I've actually imagined that a couple times.
You have a picture with you, Gail Kim, Alicia Fox,
and Eve. I do.
You got the three-way.
Oh, yeah.
Fatal four-way.
There's nothing fatal about it. We want to thank all of our callers, including that who challenged us on the Jeff Hardy
Simon says
situation earlier.
That's right.
What this show's about, all about discussion. I want to thank everybody who submitted their versus suggestions on Twitter. We do that every week right here on this very program. And also want to encourage you to get the app for your iPhone, which I guess you can now get on Verizon as of February 3rd or February 10th. This is big news. The iPhone is like the best thing since sliced bread, David Hero.
No, it's not.
Haven't you heard that? Everybody's got to have one. You got to have the new iPhone. You got to have the old iPhone. You got to have the iPhone. You got to pay extra.
Extra?
Well, data and signals.
Not me. I'm unlimited.
You got your iPhone 4 over here. It's always going off. It's like the the email from the general manager of Raw coming in because it sounds the same when you get texts.
Yes.
You got the iPhone 4. You had to run out and buy it.
Well,
surprised you haven't brought your iPad down here.
iPad stays at home.
There is nothing wrong with Apple. I actually like the iPhone, and you can get the application for the Pro Wrestling Report on your iPhone or even on your Android phone. And I know many of you use BlackBerries out there. We don't have an app for that application or for that platform yet, but those of you with those Android phones and iPhones can go ahead and pick them up there. We also want to make sure you subscribe to us. You can find those links, right now on pwrshow.com. I want to make sure you subscribe to us on Blog Talk Radio if you're listening to this show there. Favorite the show, follow the show, never miss an episode. Our schedule changes during certain parts of the year. We also bring you special episodes. Our next one will be right after the WWE Royal Rumble. It's always going to be a fun show right after that one. And on that day, David Hero, that's when the Wrestling Radio Awards are announced.
Yes, so you guys got to go to WrestlingRadioAwards.com and vote for everything PWR show.
Or whoever you want.
No, everything. You know what? You can be PC, but I'm all about putting myself over, okay? So vote for us.
Jack, did you get that clip?
Hey.
That's 2 weeks in a row you've given me good material.
It's
I'm
the truth. It's what it is.
If you're not looking out for yourself, who's looking out for you?
Yeah. If you can't laugh at yourself, I will, So, but seriously, go to WrestlingRadioAwards.com. Vote for all the PWR show interviews.
Al Snow, Iron Sheik,
Serena
The Pope,
Deeb.
Serena Deeb.
Vote for Damian Nelson as host of the year because he is the host with the most. You got to vote for him. Diva of the year, vote for Meathead. And, it'll be great. It'll be a lot of fun, and that way we can get all the awards and trophies and whatnot. It'll be fun.
I want to thank all our followers on Twitter. We're well over 3,000 now, David Hero, and we appreciate that. And continue to engage us and send us your comments, your tweets, your retweets, and your questions. Dave answers them all.
I answer most of them. Just don't irritate me. Don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
I thought that was Kaz.
You know what? Kaz has more of a temper than I do. Especially when you
we did walk off a couple times.
Especially when you give Linda that weird look, He gets hot about that.
We're going to be back again next Monday night, right here on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. Thanks.
don't forget, if you want to book Screech, 414-915-9292, 414-915-9292.
I want to thank producer Jack behind the glass. Great show tonight. David Hero, the Cause. I'm Damian Nelson saying thanks for tuning in to this week's edition of the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN. We will see you Monday night, right after WWE Raw on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com.
We are sure how to